by miracle of sound. All right, welcome back to the Shardbreaker podcast. This is episode 4 of Tress of the Emerald Sea. We did chapters 40 through 53 this week. I am Midnight, your host, and I'm here with Darkness.
Hello.
And Mythic.
Hola.
All right, and yeah, definitely nothing happened this episode. So it'll obviously be a very boring episode. We definitely don't meet a dragon, right? Yeah, so we start with Chapter 40, The Chef, where Tress is going through the kitchen to see what the crew had to work with food-wise. She found a lot of stale ingredients and also noted that the oven used sunlight spores to heat it, which did not work for even baking. She gives Fort the bottle of oil as it was too far spoiled, but does keep most of the other ingredients. First, she has Fort mash some kulu nuts so that they can make nut bread. She also makes the oven into a steamer so the bread will bake more easily. As Tress bakes, she feels guilty for not sending her parents any letters, and also feels guilty for feeling bad that Charlie didn't send her more, because it's apparently very hard to send letters when so much is happening. So once the bread is done, she slices off a small piece for Fort, who cries when he tastes it. He instantly reaches for more as Tress begins preparing some gull. So what did you think about Tress's use of the ingredients that she had and trying to make the oven better?
I mean, just the fact that she's making food better is crazy. And then she doesn't even want to take credit for it. That's even more crazy.
Well, she's like, they're going to force me to cook all the time if I take credit for it. What do you think, Darkness? Of her food?
I mean, would cooking all the time would be that bad?
I mean, when she has other
Other than
plans,
working with the spores.
Start baking some spores into the bread.
You know.
Also, what do you guys think of sunlight spores? I had not remembered sunlight spores existed and did not see them when I looked up the amount of spores last time.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Because I hadn't heard of it. But I mean, like, at least we got another spore.
Yeah, I'm assuming I think they had mentioned gold spores at one point, so I'm assuming the sunlight spores are the gold spores. And they apparently get super fucking hot. What did you think of the sunlight spores, Mythic?
I thought they were pretty cool.
Another spore to add to our collection of spores.
Exactly.
So Tress asks Fort how much food like this is worth, causing Fort to claim she had tricked him. They go back and forth about how much of her old meals the new meals are worth, and eventually agree upon a 3-to-1 ratio. She then tells Fort not to tell the Dugs she is cooking once a day, as she has other work to get done without them trying to get her to cook every single meal. Fort then asks Tress to also make dessert, and Tress says she will if Fort gives her a flare gun with flares, no questions asked. Fort then explains that he comes from a society of hunters, and his hunts are a good trade. He sends home letters of his trades for his family to proudly display. Tress is pretty impressed by this. So what do you think about Fort's society and how they do their different types of hunts?
Well, I mean, I think it's really cool. Very unique, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand any of it.
No? So he's like, basically like they like to hunt for like different types of trophies, and his trophies are how good of a deal he made with someone.
It's a neat concept.
Mm-hmm. Because he's like, yeah, society of all hunters doesn't really work in the long run because you need people to do like other stuff. So then we get chapter 41, The Philosopher. We switch to Tress taking apart the flare gun. Huck is watching from under a soup bowl, wanting to be supportive but protected. Tress thinks that Huck has been hiding more lately, even when the cat wasn't around. Tress explains to Huck that the flares use sunlight spores, unlike the cannonballs that use zephyr spores. She also brings out a cannonball, though, so Huck continues hiding. So why do you think Huck is so scared lately? She says, like, he's not just scared of the cat, he's, like, just more scared in general.
Well, why do I think that now, or did I think that then? Because I didn't have any idea on that.
I mean, do you have a new suspicion?
Yeah, I have an idea now.
What's
I think
that?
because he went to town, he learned about things that scared him.
I see.
Yeah.
So you think it was just his discussions on the last port were what like freaked him out? Because he's like, oh, she's determined to go here.
Yep. And so he got more scared because I'm sure he thinks that they're gonna have like things coming after them and shit.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Darkness?
That makes sense. But I mean, I just thought he was jumpy.
You just thought in general he's just being jumpy.
Yeah, I didn't see much of a difference, not gonna lie.
So Tristan thinks a bit about moon days, which apparently occur twice a year for each moon. A moon day is when the sun is centered directly behind one of the moons. Preachers will come during these special holidays and talk about the meaning of life, but none of them ever seem to agree on what the meaning of life is. Tress thinks if religion can't be cohesive, then it's fine if her life is a little bit messy too. So what do you think about these total eclipse holidays?
I mean, making a holiday around the eclipse, who would do such a thing?
But these ones are like predictable, apparently, because the moons are like they stay in place.
I wonder if it has any sort of effect.
Like
On,
whether
like,
it does anything to like the
explosions and stuff.
investiture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be interesting, but as far as we know, the sun doesn't really affect the spores in any way. So I'm not sure. But yeah, like although like every region in the world that would have different holidays because their moon days are different.
Mm-hmm.
So Tristan discusses with Huck about her idea to secure the silver bit to the rosite ball so that when it impacts something, it will pierce the rosite and let the water free. Huck says he agrees it should work, but asks why she is looking to change the way the cannonballs explode. Tress replies that she is looking for a way to stop Crow without hurting her, since Ulam says the spores in her blood will stop anything that tries to pierce her skin. Tress suggests using verdant spores to trap Crow, and then Sally can take over the ship. So what do you think about Tress's idea to immobilize Crow?
It's smart, to be honest.
Yeah. What would be the issue with just killing her again?
So the vines will pop out of her skin and stop the bullets. So the spores in her blood prevent her from being killed because they want to keep feeding on the water from her. So they like protect her in those cases. But her and Huck, well, she's kind of just like, I think that if I'm not aiming to hurt her, the spores shouldn't react. And Huck was kind of like, yeah, I agree. It sounds like that's the case. So she's kind of just like, since we can't kill her, we'll just like capture her so she can't do anything.
Huh.
Like, that's a smart idea, but
Or they just throw her
unfortunately, she
overboard.
doesn't have to do that.
I think the problem with trying to push her overboard is, I think Ulam says later that like you can't be like the spores aren't smart enough to be sure if someone rushing at Crow is trying to kill her or not kill her. So like someone rushing at her with like would probably cause the spores to react just because they're not sure.
Huh. Oh, great.
So Tristan rebuilds the flare and takes apart the cannonball, bringing the small vine out and watering it to let it grow a bit. As she does, she notices the vine grows towards her as she moves back and forth. She eventually allows it to wind around her finger as she realizes she isn't scared of it, and she feels a connection, capital C, with it. She wonders if people have been wrong about the spores, and the fear of them is what makes them so deadly. She was realizing why spreaders found the spores so interesting. So what do you think about how people can connect with the spores and control them? Like, not just the Midnight Essence ones.
Well, you know, it's definitely gonna become a prominent thing. So.
You think there's gonna be like a lot more inventions where people like can kind of aim the spores in certain directions? Oh, also, I just thought of an idea of like imagine people like living in the verdant spore sea where they just like constantly have like are watering parts of them and they like create like little like houses out of the vines.
Yeah, right. It would be really cool.
Just imagine living in like a forest of the verdant spores. What do you think, Darkness? What do you think about how Tress was able to connect with the spores?
Is that like based on her being from that, or is it just spores in general?
That is a good question because she is from the Verdant Sea, so it might be that she has a better connection with the verdant spores because of that. I didn't actually think about that, but that could be an idea because I know that like in like Mistborn, right? Like they use connection to access languages, and it's always based on like where you are or where someone is from. So that would make sense if, like, yeah, she has better control over the verdant spores because she is from the verdant sea and has lived there her whole life, whereas someone from other seas might have a harder time with the verdant spores. Do you think that's maybe how the sorceress apparently has so much control over the midnight essence?
Yeah,
She was born there.
I'm not even just born there, just like if you like maybe live there long enough, you get a deeper connection to them.
Mm.
So chapter 42, The Guide. Hoyd goes on a tangent about how memories are beautiful but remnants of our past selves and not our current selves. He then goes on about how beautiful Tress's planet is with the spores, even though he generally doesn't think much of the planet since the Aethers are more useful in other places. However, even though he was cursed, he'd been able to look out at the beautiful spore oceans and falling spores, which in the Crimson Sea looked like a lava flow coming from the Crimson Moon. We then switch to Tress trying to get cursed Hoyd's attention. He wanted to see the moon throwing up, so he insisted on staying on the top deck, even though Tress didn't want to be overheard. She tries to ask him about his curse, but he just goes on about having a curse and also wearing socks with sandals. Hoyd the narrator notes that he likes to be frustrating on purpose when he's normally himself, but not accidentally. So he doesn't really enjoy frustrating Tress in this situation because it's not like a kind of a clever frustration. It's more of just he's being very stupid and it even bothers him. But yeah, so what did you think about how hard it is to even properly talk to Hoyd about his curse, considering how distracted he gets because of it?
I think everything he says seems to be like it like has a meaning.
You think everything has a meaning? Even the I
Yep.
want to watch the moon throw up?
Yep.
Okay.
I feel like it's him trying to say other things that, would hint, but that the curse is kind of like jumbling his words.
What do you think, Darkness, about Tress trying to get information out of Hoyd?
I would have done it. Like, I literally would have tried, and I would have failed.
You would have given up?
Yeah,
What,
that's like frustrating.
You would try to make the moon throw up?
Yeah, totally.
So Tress continues to be frustrated as she tries to get information out of Hoyd, but eventually she realizes that he can't talk at all about the Sorceress's Island, so she decides she needs a map. Hoyd thinks that she figured out a way to help him quicker than Ulam had when Ulam had been with him for over a year, although he doubted Ulam had even tried.
I don't think so either.
Tress gets Sally to have a Doug grab a general map of the Midnight Sea from Sally's quarters, and then she brings it over to Hoyd. As she points at different islands, Hoyd says random shit about each of them until she finds a spot that he refuses to speak about. Tress's eyes watered with happy tears as she realizes where the Sorceress's Island is. However, the beautiful moment is ruined by rain in the distance heading for the ship. So what did you think about Tress being able to finally get some information out of Hoyd by pointing at places on this map?
I mean, it's super smart. Just absolutely insanely smart. So.
Mm-hmm.
What was the question?
I said, what do you think about how Tress was able to get the sorcerer's location from Hoyd by pointing at places on this map?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have thought that either.
That was very smart.
Mm-hmm. So then we get chapter 43, The Musician. Hoyd notes that it's common for seafaring cultures to fear storms, and to also ascribe volition to the storms. However, Hoyd notes that the storms on Tress's planet are not specifically invested, meaning that it's completely random that the rain was heading straight for the pirate ship. Tress stumbles at the ship as the ship begins moving side to side as Soleil calls out directions to the Dugs. Even Captain Crow followed Sally's orders and pulls on a rope connected to one of the sails. 3 Dugs also help Soleil hold onto the ship's wheel as the ship is forced into a tight turn. So what do you think about how even Captain Crow is like, nah, we're listening to Soleil here. She's in charge.
I mean, who's really in charge around here,
It's obviously Hoyd.
Obviously. I mean, he's not dead yet, so after he's, rambles on about every little thing, I think he does have the power.
What do you think?
I'm hungry.
You're hungry?
Sorry.
Time to eat some vines.
Yeah, go eat some vines, Smith. Just put some water on some spores. You'll be fine.
As much as I wish I could actually do that, I can't, so...
They also apparently do not taste very good.
Yeah, well, I've been told that I don't have, taste buds.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I can't smell, so... Been told, I don't know. I think I taste things just fine.
But yeah, what do you think, Darkness, about the, how Soleil kind of is fully in charge during the rain?
I don't know, I feel like she needs to stop the rain somehow. I just
Where
don't
was
know how.
Crow in this?
Crow's helping. Crow's working. She's pulling on one of the ropes on one of the sails. She's like, I'm not dying here. I'm this close to the dragon.
I mean, it makes sense. It's their job, you know.
Mm-hmm. So the ship scrapes against some of the crimson spores that had been watered, the giant spikes reaching towards the sky and then sinking into the spores below, causing waves to push on the ship. Tress reaches for a bucket to puke into as the ship moves back and forth, as she's worried that her puke would activate any spores that had come onto the deck.
The
Wait,
fact
stays.
that she is seasick is wild.
Why?
This woman being seasick is just does not compute to me. I don't know.
So Hoyt states that Sally moves the ship like she's playing an instrument as she moves with some waves and against others. One of the Dugs pukes onto the deck, and spores overwhelm the silver linings for a moment, causing the Dug to be nailed to the captain's cabin. Other Dugs quickly move to soak up the blood with towels, as the blood could cause more spores to activate and shred the ship. The sea suddenly stops as the rain begins heading back for the ship. Tress and the crew can only watch as the rain barely misses them before swirling off into the distance. So yeah, what did you think about their first proper encounter with some rain and crimson spikes?
I mean, very informative.
What did you think, Darkness?
That's scary. They got like sharp, spiky spikes.
Yeah, they're like giant fucking thorns.
Thorns. Yeah.
That one poor Doug just got fucking pincushioned. So then we get chapter 44, The Fallen, where Hoyt talks about how the Doug that died was named Paxson and that his sister was also part of the crew. Apparently he wasn't the most attractive person, but he was incredibly kind. Hoyt says he wishes he had been in his right mind to be able to teach Paxson more about music, since that was one of the man's interests. The crew puts Paxson into the Spore Sea before
Does he have
sailing
his
on.
flute? Does he have his flute right now?
They don't mention it. They just say that he wishes he could have taught him some music.
I feel like that wouldn't be like if he did have it. I feel like that wouldn't be a issue with his curse. He should be able to play the flute.
I imagine he could play the flute, but he'd only play really fucking annoying songs.
Oh my god.
Like, he'd play it well, but they'd be really fucking annoying songs.
Hot crossbones, hot crossbones. Or no, the sorceress replaced his flute with a recorder.
Oh my god, or kazoo.
Oh.
What did I say?
Yeah, we had a lot of words, but none of them made sense. I think your name is Hoyd.
Oh yeah, I was asking about Oh no, I think I hadn't finished. I hadn't gotten to a question yet. You just mentioned the flute.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, they put Paxson's body into the Spore Sea before sailing on, and Tress feels partially responsible for his death since she had insisted on going out into the Crimson Sea. Huck does his best to distract Tress from feeling down by telling her about his life as a rat and rat communities. He also tells Tress that everyone's shoes smell a little different,
Did you just
even though...
get lower?
Hmm?
You just got quieter.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me good now?
I feel like tamed.
Huh?
I feel like you just are like you got like quieter, like you just chose to get quieter, like.
No.
Okay, I don't know.
I mean, you do sound quieter, but
Do I?
Yeah, like it was in the middle of your sentence. Like
What the fuck?
it was so weird.
That is weird. What the fuck?
I thought maybe like somebody walked in and you were trying not to like
No.
disturb their work or something.
No, no one walked in.
It's weird. Okay, go on. Something I noticed.
Okay, where was I? But yeah, Huck does his best to distract Tress from feeling down by telling her about his life as a rat and rat communities. He also tells Tress that everyone's shoes smell a little different, even though humans wouldn't realize it. As Huck talks, Tress works on her augmented flare gun. She tries out different variations of spores to see what works best. Outside, she could hear the Dugs trying to catch gulls, since they were rarer in the Crimson Sea. So, how many talking rats do you think there are in this world? Because apparently Huck's like, oh yeah, all these different communities of talking rats and everything on all the different islands.
Probably quite a few.
I don't think they're rats.
You don't think they're rats? You think he's talking to someone else?
Yeah, he's talking to people.
He's talking to familiars.
Or other beings.
More
I
familiars.
think they're just rats. Also, yeah, you're very low.
Am I very low?
Yeah, you are.
Here, let me try and
Did
put
your
my
mic
closer.
switch or something?
Or maybe my mic got pushed away from my face a little bit. Is that better?
That's way better.
Okay, I think my mic's like connected to my headset, but it's like on like this like one of those like bendy wire things. So I'm wondering if it just like kind of like moved away from my mouth.
Sometimes I smack mine out of the way.
Yeah, I might have accidentally moved it or something without realizing. But yeah, that's better now.
Yeah, way better.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so you just think it's like not rats. He's talking to like either other people or other like talking creatures of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like, every bird is a chicken.
Every bird is a chicken.
Or hear me out. He's running off onto islands. He summons a bunch of black spores and he starts listening on everyone.
Oh, that would be cool as shit, to be honest.
That would be pretty cool.
I was gonna say, what if he is a creature of black spore, but
A creature of what?
He's
Sorry.
a black
of the
sport
black
creature.
spores.
Oh,
but,
you think he's like Midnight Essence?
yeah.
Be pretty impressive considering he looks like a rat. Because they said like the Midnight Essence is like
Exactly.
a inky tar-like creature.
Okay, but who would have the
He's up-
skill to do that?
He's of Midnight's essence? Oh my god.
He is my child.
Ew. No wonder he looks like you.
Wow, that's fucked up. But yeah, so once done experimenting with her flares, she decides to go down to the hull to test them, since the Dugs were all above deck. She gives Liger an excuse about wanting to check out the patch she and Anne had done previously to try and learn more about how to do better patches in the future. Liger easily lets her down by herself. Tress then tests her flare gun, which she unfortunately did not use enough Zephyr spores for, as the flare did not go far before exploding into a bunch of verdant vines. Tress gets captured by the vines, but not injured in any way, so she just laughs and asks Huck to get her her silver knife. Once she had cut herself free, she adds more Zephyr spores to the other flares before testing them. All but one works perfectly, and she spends time cutting down the vines and sneaking them to her room to throw out of her porthole into the spore sea. When she was done cleaning up, she rushes to help Fort with dinner, although she's distracted the whole time. She worries about the one flare that didn't go off, and if she has the same problem when facing Crow in the future. So what do you think about Tress's experiments with the flare gun?
She's getting good with it, and then she's gonna, use it. But then again, like I had made the comment, she's going to trade Crow for her instead of herself. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately she gets caught later on. Before she can execute her plan.
I had a feeling that she wasn't going to be, able to keep it under wraps. So.
You didn't think Crow was going to let them get away with mutiny?
No. Every time in everything that has to do with pirates and mutiny, the captain always finds out.
Fair. Something at Chapter 45, The Protector. Captain Crow opens up some alcohol for the crew that evening, although Tress declines to drink any because she's worried she'll let slip her plans if she gets drunk. The Dugs drink, though, and cheer Tress.
Would, to be honest.
The Dugs drink, though, and cheer Tress when she goes to bring some dinner to Soleil, who hadn't shown up to eat. When Soleil opens the door to her cabin, Tress can see that she had been crying. Tress nervously goes into the small room as Soleil talks about how she'd been trying to figure out a way to avoid the rains. Tress then notices a drawing of a young Soleil and an older man, and she asks if this is Sally's father. Soleil agrees and states that her father had been bounced around between deader camps and ships for so long that it was impossible to track him. She didn't even know if he was still alive, and she wonders if she failed and should give up. Tress insists that she shouldn't give up, but Sally keeps asking if Tress has a way to avoid the rains or keep them safe here in the Crimson, and Tress has no reply to that. So what do you think about how hard Soleil is taking the death of Paxson?
I mean, it almost seemed like she was emotionally invested in him.
Maybe they were secretly dating.
Even if it wasn't anything personal, the fact that you feel in charge of people gives you a sense of responsibility over them.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the same thing with Ham in Mistborn Era 1, where, like, he really struggled to be in charge of Kelsier's little army because, like, he was so emotionally invested in each of the soldiers that, like, anytime someone died, he would take it really hard. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what do you think about how Sally is like has so much hope that Tress can just like solve other issues, and she's like, "You wouldn't bring us into the Crimson Sea if you didn't have a way to like be safe here, right?"
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They seem very that
kind of pissed me off.
Yeah. Go ahead, Darkness.
That kind of pissed me off because, like, how are you gonna go into a place, follow someone so blindly, and expect them to have everything set?
Yeah.
Like, at least have a backup yourself.
And like, how the fuck is she supposed to like control fucking weather?
Right.
It's like, ma'am, the rain's
Somehow
just come
she
randomly.
does.
I mean, she doesn't control the weather. She just like.
Shush! She controls the weather.
Okay.
She's the weather witch.
She's a witch in general, just a witch.
Maybe she's a sorceress.
She is.
We've been over this midnight.
So Tristan tells Sally that Crow wants to go to see the dragon, and Sally instantly realizes it's to try to cure herself. She also realizes that Crow would want to try to trade Tress, although because Sally thinks Tress is a king's mark, she just laughs at that. Tress also admits she needs to go see the sorceress, and Sally doesn't seem concerned. She does beg Tress to help her protect the crew out on the dangerous seas, though, and Tress realizes she might have a way to help. So at this point, did you have any idea what Tress's plan may be to help the ship?
No, not at all, to be honest.
I thought she was gonna make an umbrella with the vines.
Oh yeah. The thing is, though, what happens when the umbrella starts sinking?
What do you mean?
Well, because the spores only the vines only stay up while the seas is stopped. But once the seas starts up again, and the vines start to sink into the spore sea, it's just gonna like be a net that like pulls the ship under the spores.
No, I meant like on the mast of the ship.
So it should like help
Like a
and stay up
rooftop.
there. Oh, okay.
That's what I thought was gonna happen.
That's fair. I was thinking like it would like not be fully attached to the ship, and I'm like, it's just gonna like pull them under the ocean.
Nah, I was seeing more like a fucking like umbrella just cover over. But...
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it was definitely a very weird, for sure.
I didn't expect her to fucking lift the whole goddamn ship.
Right.
Yeah,
I was like, are we flying?
So chapter 46, The Informant. Tress spends the next few days experimenting as much as possible, only leaving her cabin to help Fort with dinners. She had been working with the verdant spores, learning how playful they were and how easily they complied with her mental commands. The ship had been sailing closer to the crimson lunagree, causing the ship to tilt as technically each sea was a mountain of spores. Tress wonders if maybe she could find a small boat and sail it on her own so she doesn't need to send the whole crew into the Midnight Sea with her, although Huck says that could take her years. He says that maybe she should give up on saving her friend instead. Tress doesn't want to give up. Tress doesn't want to give up, though, so Huck tells her that he had learned some things from other talking rats about the Midnight Sea. He says that rain falls in the Midnight Sea, and the sorceress somehow has a way to continuously feed the Midnight Essence creatures to control them. If you get past those, she has an army of metal men that will capture anyone who sets foot on her island. So how do you think the sorceress controls these giant Midnight Essence creatures?
She's just that powerful.
What do you mean, how does she control them?
A witch.
Well, like, I was thinking, how did she control them? Because, like, remember, Tress, when she controlled the Midnight Essence, she could only control, like, a fist-sized one, and that, like, almost fully dehydrated her. But apparently the sorceress has, like, multiple ship-sized creatures under her control.
So you take multiple people and use them as battery.
Ah. I see.
Why was that so fucking suspicious?
I just imagine like her having a whole bunch of like people in like a giant shower room, and they're just being like showered on with their mouths open towards the ceiling as they're controlling the Midnight Essence.
Why a shower room and not just a pool?
Because I don't think you'd want to be like sitting in the water. Like you'd want it like coming down on you, so it's not like water that's just been sitting there with people in it.
You're not trying to give like this ain't no fucking inspection, no FDA accordance. Like
you give them the gross water.
At that point, give them sewer water.
Oh my god. That might kill them faster than the Midnight Essence does. They'll get fucking sick as hell.
Nah, the sickness, it takes time.
Also, what do you think about this army of metal men that she apparently has?
Army of metal men?
Yeah, so apparently the second hurdle to get through after the Midnight Essence is this army of metal men that hang out on her island.
So like people wearing steel armor?
Maybe. As far as we've seen, they don't seem to have, like, lots of metal armor here, so it might just be, yeah, they have suits of armor, and so people are confused by that because they don't see it much.
I wouldn't see why they wouldn't do steel armor, though. Or, like, depending on the reaction of the spores.
Yeah, when did you wore... Is it Yeah, steel pushes. So yeah, if you wear steel armor, wouldn't it just like give you like a bubble of protection from the spores as they'd all get pushed away from you?
Hmm.
It's like a steel bubble, like wax, but with spores.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think, Mythic, when you heard about the army of metal men?
Okay, say that one more time. Sorry, I had something in my ear.
I said, what did you think about this army of metal men that apparently the sorceress has?
Oh, well, I was trying to figure out like what kind of robots that she could have, to be honest.
I think that was my first thought when I first read this book too, is I was like, robot army?
Yeah, I mean,
Bruh.
it just I don't know. I was and then I started trying to think of like what could that mean. But after the end of this whole thing, I was thinking maybe it's like marsh, kind of like something that resembles. I can't remember what those things were called.
Oh, Steel Inquisitors?
Inquisitors? Yeah, like a steel inquisitor, and that's what they think metal men are.
Interesting. So you think they're just like inquisitors that she has on the island? Do you think they're like
Yeah,
actual inquisitors from like Scadrial, or do you think she has like some alternative version of them or
I think it's
something?
an alternative version, to be
Hmm.
honest.
So yeah, so then after they talk about the metal men, Huck mentions that if someone escapes the metal men, the sorceress lives in a tall metal tower that you can't climb. The only ways in are a door that is locked in a mysterious way and a window at the top where her ravens fly in and out of. Apparently the sorceress sometimes stands at the top of the tower to try to commune with the moons. Tress states that Charlie and Hoyd got to see the sorceress, but Huck mentions that Charlie was specifically kidnapped by the sorceress to be ransomed,
Mhm.
and they don't know how or why Hoyd was able to speak to the sorceress and are unable to get that information out of him. Tress does realize that her task is harder than she expected, but she keeps working anyway, as she has other problems to deal with first. So what do you think about this like giant metal tower that the sorceress lives in?
Every mage needs their tower.
Moonrise
Right.
Tower.
What do you think about this apparently strange lock that she has on the door?
It's a talking lock.
It's a fucking
Hmm.
stamp.
You think it's a stamp? Do you think so? Talking? Do you
Imagine.
think
Could you imagine?
if it's a
Could be.
talking lock, do you think it's like an awakened lock, like from Nalthis?
Yes.
Hmm. It's a Nightblood lock. It talks like
Yep.
Nightblood does.
100%.
Just hanging
It's a
out like.
midnight lock.
It's me. I am the lock.
I am the lock.
Also, what do you think about Huck continuously trying to get Tress to abandon her quest to save Charlie?
He knows something that is like uh what's the word? Imperative for her to know, and he's not telling her.
Mm. Do you think he's hiding something from her to like for her safety, or do you think he's doing like
Both.
maliciously?
Oh no,
Mm.
I think here's my two theories are either he's hiding it because for her safety, because he
Mm-hmm.
knows even if he tells her, she's still gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
Or he is also somewhat cursed and can't speak about certain things and might have been like he might be like the first or one of the first few that were cursed. So those
Mm.
sorcerers hadn't learned everything yet.
Oh, so you
That's
think
also
maybe
why I
like.
think
Sorry, go ahead.
go on. I was gonna say I also think that's why he's a rat, but
So you think he's maybe like not actually originally a rat? He was like a person that
mhm.
was cursed, or do you think he's a rat that
Yeah.
was cursed?
Nope, I think he was a person that was cursed.
How long do you think he's been a rat then?
Well, I don't know, for a while probably.
Do you think like all these other talking rats he's talking about are like other
Or
cursed
other
people?
people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that she was like experimenting on when she first got here.
Yep. And that's why like he has he seems different, but like in the curse wise, because like she was probably learning how to do the
Mm.
curse.
So maybe that's why he has like these theories about like, oh, if you get them to talk in this way, you can get
Yeah.
around the curse, and like because he's been like practicing with it for so long.
Yeah. He knows too much.
That's fair.
I watched Avatar: Last Airbender, right?
Yeah,
Y'all know the White Lotus?
Yes.
I think so.
This Iroh.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's
amazing.
just that's just what it feels like, not gonna lie. And then the other rats are just part of the White Lotus too.
Mm.
Possibility, to be honest. I mean, I like that idea too.
They're all cursed people who are like figuring out how to talk to each other about the curses and shit.
So we get chapter 47, The Poet. We switch to Tress testing her vine flares on Ulam, who becomes sufficiently trapped. He agrees that this will likely work well against Crow, since Tress doesn't need to fire directly at Crow. This will allow the vines in her blood to not think the flare is a threat, as they wouldn't care if she's immobilized as long as she can still get water. Tress then wants to cut Ulam down, but he says there's no need and eventually frees himself by digesting parts of the vines, although Tress doesn't understand how he did that. Hoyd just states that Ulam is extra gross.
Very gross.
I just imagine that Ulam just created mouths on like different parts of his body and started chewing on the vines. Ulam also wants Tress's brain after she is dead because of how well she is doing with her experiments and creating the flares. Tress insists her brain is not for sale, though. Ulam then asks for Tress's hands, as he smiles with an inhuman number of teeth, which is apparently because he thought the wider his smile, the more comforted humans would be. Tress insists that none of her body parts are for sale. Ulam then asks if Tress is sure the crew will follow her mutiny, and she says she believes so, since the crew assumes she is a king's mask. Tress asks if Ulam would help with the mutiny, but he says that sort of interference is not proper.
I don't know, I like better that she was like, I apparently am good at lying when telling the truth.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, apparently.
But yeah, so
people are just dumb.
What do you think about Ulam not wanting to help them take down Crow?
I thought he was working with her, to be honest.
What do you think, Darkness?
Even with his weirdness and everything, what if he just still follows the no harming humans rule?
That's what I was thinking, is because he's a Khandra, depending how old of a Khandra, like even if he's a newer Khandra, like being under like Sazed and Harmony, like Sazed being like the whole like don't interfere, it's not proper. I feel like Ulam's kind of taken in that, especially now that he's on a different planet. He's probably kind of taken into the I'm here as an observer, I'm not here to be messing with shit. Because he's a Khandra that's what I think he means by that. Is it's just like his nature as a Khandra to not like fuck around with things, especially not on his planet. I love his like weirdly big smile with way too many teeth. Like he's like, this will be much more comforting, and everyone else is like, no, it's the opposite. I just imagine he has like when like the Joker wide grin, like it goes all the way up to like his like all the way up to almost his ears. Oh, is this? I need to click on it. Yeah, but I imagine it even bigger. Like there's like even more teeth and they're like going all the way up. But yeah, so Hoyd then goes on about a poem which Ulam disconnects his ears for. Hoyd apparently keeps following Ulam around trying to ambush him with terrible poems. Ulam also mentions that neither he nor Hoyd would die if the ship sank, although he'd prefer not to have to walk across the bottom of the Spore Sea to get to land with Hoyd in his current condition. So what do you think about Hoyd and Ulam just being apparently able to walk under the Spore Sea because of how like immortal they are?
I didn't even realize that he is like immortal, to be honest.
Who, Hoyd or Ulam?
Ulam. Or no, yeah. Hoyd, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Conjure, obviously, but I didn't realize that Hoyd was immortal. Like that's a.
I think Ulam calls him basically immortal. Like I'm assuming there's something that can kill him, is what he's implying. But the spores aren't it. Like he'll be fine.
Wouldn't that make him also basically immortal and not actually immortal? Because there is something. That
I think he might say they're both basically immortal.
Gotcha.
Or he says Hoyd is basically immortal and he'd be fine down there. Because I'm assuming Ulam can just be like, I just don't secrete liquids. Like, I have enough control over that I'm fine.
Yeah.
I was going to look it up to see what his exact wording was. 1 second. What chapter was this in? 47. I hate how much I have to click through to get to here. So he says... You're not bleeding from your ears. Hoyd is immortal. Oh, so he does say Hoyd is immortal. I am nearly so. I thought it was the opposite of what he said, but yeah. So okay, Hoyd he's just called straight up immortal, and he says Ulam is nearly immortal.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. That was a lore drop that I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I missed that one. I thought for some reason that I for some reason read it as they're both nearly immortal, which I'm like, yeah, it makes sense because they mention in other books that like if you have enough investiture, you basically just stop aging, and like you don't get sick and all these things, right? But yeah, no, he just straight up is apparently immortal, so he's got something else going on that's just like, yeah, no, I just don't die.
Which is weird. Like, there has to be something there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just for everyone from his planet, or is it just him?
I don't think it's everyone from his planet, but then again, the only people I know of from his planet outside of him are vessels of shards who, because they become vessels, they're as immortal as any shard can be.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're basically immortal as well unless you break their shard or take their power. Like separate them from the power.
Yeah.
They don't say Hoyd's invulnerable though, so like I'm assuming maybe he might just mean like
He can get hurt, but he can't die.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's like, okay, cool, you can get hurt. But, like...
Imagine the torture possibilities.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's the same with Conjure. That's why the Conjure were so scared of being, like, captured, because they're like, yeah, I can just easily be tortured forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the Conjure can die. Like...
I mean, eventually,
Only to acid, I think.
Yeah, but, like, torture over acid is still torture.
Mm.
And it's a good torture.
I guess they could also just turn their nerves off if they needed to.
That's true. That's where death threats start coming in.
Yeah, and then you just get the mental torture of, like, you put Hoyd there, giving the bad poems.
Yeah, exactly.
So Tristan tells Hoyd that she's terrified, and Hoyd, being a little lucid, tries to comfort her and tell her she has everything she needs. He insists on it,
Which
even though
she does.
He insists on this, even though Tress wonders if she will fail. Then the sea stops, and Hoyd thinks that's fine as long as rain doesn't come.
And then rain comes.
Yeah. So, what do you think Hoyd meant by Tress having everything she needs?
She has everything she needs. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Like, what I mean is, like, do you think he's like specifically referring to just her situation with Crow, or do you think he's referring to anything else?
I think he's saying in general she has everything she needs. Like,
what do you think, Darkness? Do you think he was just referring to the Crow situation, or do you think he's referring to like her overall situation?
Darkness?
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No worries. I was okay. You're still here.
I feel like it's more like her learning of spores. The fact that she was able to do that stuff with the verdant spores. Also, does steel affect like already grown spores?
I think it affects them as they're growing. I don't think it'll affect them once they're done growing.
Okay. It's weird how the midnight spores work then.
What do you mean?
Because, like, how does that signify growth? Because, like, we see the verdant spores grow like vines, right? And then it's also weird how the bloody ones work then, too.
Well, because, so basically we
got the spikes that grow.
Right? Yeah, so it seems like each spore has a certain potential. And if you water a bunch of spores at the same time, they can combine into a bigger thing. And so in the case of like the Zephyr spores, it would be the more water you give it or the more spores you put together when watering, the bigger the explosion. Whereas it's just a tiny little puff of air if you just do the tiniest drop of water on one spore. I'm assuming, considering how fast the Zephyr spores explode, it would be more so like if you had like steel near it when you activated it, it would kind of only blow away. It would like explode in a certain direction instead of being like a circular blast. It would almost be like a fan where it like is aimed in a certain direction. Like, I'm wondering if you could like use Zephyr spores to like power like sailboats and stuff. Like, you use like a big steel shield and like explode some Zephyr near the sails so it puffs the sails and keeps them blowing. And then with the Midnight Essence, they haven't really shown any interactions so far. And like, I'm trying to think of how that would work with the steel and iron, because they kind of more like expand like a balloon, like they're this like big inky thing.
I wonder what would work better for a fucking hot air balloon? Like the sunlight spores or the
Or the Zephyr.
blue ones? Yeah.
I think maybe the sun. We don't know a lot about how the sunlight ones work, but I'm thinking
But we know they
maybe.
produce heat.
Yeah, and they obviously do it long enough that you could run an oven with it. So I'm thinking sunlight just because it seems like theirs last longer, whereas like the Zephyr is more just a sudden burst.
If you can mix both, at that point just make a jet.
They're gonna have giant jet planes using Zephyr and sunlight spores.
I would be so horrible for these worlds on anything.
Would be
Oh my god!
next kill stream.
Wait. How does? Do we just like shove the spores in the oven?
I'm assuming there's some sort of contraption in the oven that like slowly waters the spores or something to keep the oven heated for however long you need. Like maybe like there's like instead of like turning an oven on and off, you like slowly open like a little valve and it like slowly trickles water until you shut it off or something. I'm not 100% sure. Because I think this is the only mention we get of the sunlight spores in the book is this oven and the flare gun.
Okay.
I had a thought and now it's gone. Oh, I was gonna say, I wonder if you could like create a contraption out of either steel or iron to make like a laser beam out of sunlight spores.
Okay, I'm back with my food.
Oh my god, a lightsaber.
We're talking about making lasers out of sunlight spores.
I mean, yeah, that sounds like a darkness thing.
Hey, I was
Like I
the one
said,
who came up
maybe
with that.
darkness. Maybe darkness will be the next Kelsey. No, it's all darkness. I don't know what you're talking about. Darkness is the only one that comes up with good ideas. Midnight doesn't have any good
Wow, that's
ideas.
fucked up.
She's already read this book. She knows things.
Chapter 48, the Nightmare. We
The
continue with
nutcracker.
We continue with 2 lines of rain, heading straight for the stranded ship. When Tress goes to the top deck, she sees Soleil standing at the wheel, hoping the seas will start again so she can steer the ship clear of the rain. However, the seas does not seem to be starting, and Tress starts giving commands, asking for 2 lengths of rope and a barrel of water. So at this point, did you know what Tress's plan was? Did you have any ideas what she might be doing?
No clue.
What about you, Darkness? Did you have any idea what she might have been up to?
Tress? No.
So Tress then rushes down to her room, pushing past Laggart. She grabs a large ball of rosite filled with verdant spores and waxed on the outside. She then hurries back up to the top deck where Captain Crow was drinking water from her flask, seemingly waiting for their deaths. Sally shouts to Tress that they have what she asked for, and Tress then says to carefully lower the water and her over the side of the ship. Sally pauses for a moment before barking orders to the Dugs. Once Tress and the barrel of water were on the spores, she rolled the barrel next to the hull of the ship. She then opens the barrel and takes up the large rosite ball. She creates a hole in it with the silver spikes and tells the vines to grab and not destroy as she drops the verdant spores into the water. Vines explode outwards from the barrel as they drink up the water. Tress then commands the vines to lift the ship into the air above the spore sea. As the ship is lifted, Tress is lifted by the rope around her. The rain then comes, bathing the ship and cleaning the deck free of spores. Captain Crow hurries to look down where the ship isn't destroyed and sees a massive tree of vines holding the ship above the sprouting crimson spikes. Tress is hanging off the side of the ship, soaked from the rain and just barely above the edge of the spikes. Sally instantly begins shouting for the Dugs to pull Tress up. So what did you think of Tress's plan to keep the ship safe?
Very good idea, to be honest.
Umbrella would have been better.
Yeah, that's crazy. Imagine there's this like giant tree holding up the ship.
How did they get done?
Once the seas start up again, the tree part sinks down into the ocean. And then I believe they mention how like Crow had them like the crew trained on how to like cut free verdant vines when they had been sailing in that sea. So I'm assuming they like lower them down like Tress had been and like have them cut off the vines that are holding onto the ship.
Okay. So what if the rain hit again?
Do it again.
Then you're fucked.
See, that's what I'm saying. My umbrella idea would have been way better because it's still gonna be there.
What happens if there's like gaps in the umbrella though? I feel like you'd want a
Well, then just be
roseite
a better
umbrella.
fucking plant person.
I think you need to use the roseite ones if you want like an umbrella. The vines just are too unreliable for like a proper coverage.
Well, you could just use the vine and then seal it with the rosite,
I guess.
like waterproofing. But the thing is though, like while it's growing and the rain is pouring, right?
Mhm.
Wouldn't it just like seal all the gaps with the rain?
What do you mean by seal all the gaps?
because it's
Because
water.
wherever the water goes, that's where the vines would grow.
Yeah, but I
So once
don't.
you have
I
that
think
like little like mold, like a little structure, right?
I feel like though once the vines start growing, they don't grow into the rain. If the rain hits them, they keep growing from wherever the end of the vine is.
Hmm.
Really?
I think so. I think they just because that's how the spikes work too, is they just like they grow in like a specific way, the spikes for the crimson spikes. So I think the vines, like once you start watering them, they just unless you're guiding them, they just move in whatever fucking way they want to.
So like, what dictates the height limit of the growth?
I believe they say previously in Tress's experiments that each singular spore seems to have a like growth like limit.
So there's more growth potential for verdants than spikes.
No, I don't think so. I think the spikes get just as big because remember she's not using a singular verdant spore when she does this bucket trick. She does like a whole like fistful basically in this
Yeah,
like
but there's a fucking ocean of spikes.
yeah.
So
But so
like,
basically it lifted it high enough like the spikes didn't grow high enough. So like she was able to because remember she had that connection. She was telling them grow upwards because normally they'd be like a big tangled like bush, I think. But she was like
yeah,
telling them to go upwards specifically,
okay.
and she had enough that I think they because it seems like based on as I said what we see with both the Verdant and the Midnight ones is that they kind of combine together sometimes if there's a bunch of them, so they'll make a bigger vine if you have more of them.
Hmm. It would have been fucking hilarious if somebody was counteracting that in the ship.
Oh my
Spikes,
gosh.
grow up, up, up.
Shred the vines.
She has portable Christmas trees. Congratulations.
To be honest, that would have been pretty divine.
Wow. Uh,
Sorry.
Everyone celebrates as Tress is pulled back onto the deck of the ship. However, Crow watches her and thinks that Tress is her worst nightmare as she had gained the loyalty of the crew.
Yes.
She wasn't
Yes,
worried
your
about the
worst
ship.
nightmare.
She wasn't worried about the ship itself, as they had been practiced freeing it of vines when expecting cannon fights in the Verdant Sea. But Tress was her nightmare. So, what do you think about how Tress is like a big thorn in Crow's side with her like getting so much favor with the crew?
Well, here's the thing. I think that that leads into why she used the like shit to spy on them, even though I feel like
Mm-hmm.
she's been doing that anyways. But I think that like led to, okay, well, I really need to watch her now, so a lot more prevalent about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think
They
there's a
also got
brief.
very, they got very confident too
Yeah, they did. They
after
definitely
that.
got very, yeah, they've not I wouldn't, I don't know about confident. They got very like lax about
Mm-hmm.
it all, to be honest. They just like they didn't even think about the fact that she could be spying, even if it wasn't just with that ability either, like with that
Yeah.
spore.
Like
She
Liger
could have
was
spied
apparently on the other
that.
side of the door and they didn't even realize.
Yeah, like so they're just they just got a little too lenient in their
They
belief
got yeah,
system
they
there.
got too cocky, too like
Mhm. Too safe. They felt too safe.
yeah. Because I think there's also a brief mention in this chapter when she goes to grab her stuff is that she knocks over some midnight spores. And so I'm
Mm.
wondering if Crow, because I don't think Crow knew she had any, but I'm wondering if she's like because she's like worried about Tress here, she goes and like checks Tress's cabin or something
Mm.
and finds them. So then we get chapter 49, The Martyr. We move forward a few hours to Tress sitting in the quartermaster's office with Fort, Anne, and Soleil. She's drinking warm tea as she shivers while the others discuss the situation. Fort says they need to act quickly against Crow before Tress is traded away to the dragon. Sally wants to strike the following morning, but Tress says that maybe they shouldn't. Maybe they should just let her be traded and she can figure out a way to escape the dragon or pay her way out. So what did you think about Tress not wanting to have the crew follow her into the Midnight Sea?
She's thinking too hard on them, like as them as friends, less of them as crew.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to the most dangerous place and you expect like there not to be lost.
Mm-hmm.
Or I mean, I guess you expect it, but you expect them not to follow you after everything you've done? Like what?
Yeah, exactly. Especially with everything they've done after she does after. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I would. There's no way that they wouldn't follow her after what she did for them.
So Fort then makes the argument that if they don't stop Crow now, they are basically letting her go free, knowing what she had done. Tress finally gives in and agrees they can capture Crow tomorrow. She begins to talk about her plan to capture Crow without physically restraining her, as the vines will stop them. But she stops part way when she notices something in the shadows. She grabs for it
Uh-huh.
and finds Midnight Essence, which she takes control of just before it puffs away. Tress instantly knows that Crow had been controlling it and listening in on them. So yeah, what did you think about Crow when using Midnight Spores to spy on them?
I didn't think she had the gall or the reserve to do that, to be honest.
I wouldn't think she has the water in her body to do that.
Oh, okay.
She was in her time of the monk, you know.
I
Oh
see.
my God. Darkness.
What?
Ugh.
I'm just saying. That's a source, right?
Yeah, blood's a source.
Mm-hmm.
It's a liquid, so
So we move to chapter 50, The Murderer. Instantly, the bell rings for all hands to go up on deck. The others don't understand how Crow overheard them, and Tress doesn't have time to explain. She opens the door to try and go get her flares, but Laggert is already at the door and points a gun at her. Tress tells him that Crow needs her, so he can't shoot her, and he agrees, and instead shoots Soleil in the leg. Anne instantly begins to try to bind the wound, as Laggert insists they all go up to the top deck. Fort carries Soleil in his arms as they head up, where Crow is waiting for them. So what do you think of Laggert, waiting for them to leave the room? Just there.
he was just there already. That's crazy.
I really hate that guy, bro.
I don't. I like him. He's a cool guy.
Also, what do you think about Laggert just,
Following the wrong
shooting
person.
Saleh?
Man,
I think
made
that's
a
what made me
point.
hate him.
Made a point, so.
He's like, yeah, I can't shoot you, but I can shoot the people you care about.
Mm-hmm. He makes a point, like I said.
Mm-hmm. So Captain Crow places 4 guns out on a table and tells them to try killing her, or Laggert to save themselves. However, when Ford eventually dives for one of the guns, Crow kicks the table away and scatters the guns. She then punches Fort enough for a crunch to be heard. Soleil and Tress also try to go for guns, but Crow stops them as well. Crow begins throwing the guns overboard and also slams a table into Fort's arms that are protecting his face. Anne is able to get one of the guns and aim it at Laggert, who tries to back away until Crow tells him not to, or she'll shoot him. However, when Anne does fire the gun, she misses by a huge amount. Crow just laughs and knocks the gun away from her. Crow then uses Tress's flare gun to shoot vines at Anne before slamming her heel into Sally's injured leg. She then breaks Fort's writing board, causing Fort to sob and wail. Once everyone was sufficiently humiliated and beaten,
Humiliated.
Crow decides not to kill them. So what do you think about Crow proving she is dangerous whether she has spores protecting her or not?
Well, first off, she still has spores protecting her. Okay, like it doesn't change anything.
Mm-hmm. But
Just because she's good at what she does not change the fact that the spores protected her much more than
yeah,
I
but
feel
she's
like
like,
she wouldn't be able to do a lot of these things if she didn't have that protection.
yeah, but she's like, even if I get cured, like, you don't get to stop being scared of me, basically.
Yeah, okay. Yep. That's why, totally. When
If she gets cured, she's that
I
much
show up
mortal.
while you're sleeping and I just cap you in the face. Yeah.
Right. Because they said they thought of that, right? But the only
Yeah.
problem would be the spores.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Gotta go to sleep sometime, girl.
Also, it's fucked up that she, like, fucking broke the writing board, which was, like, Fort's only way to communicate with people.
I would have been seething. I would have been so pissed, bro.
Because as far as Fort was aware, that was, like, a like, one-of-a-kind item.
Wait, you mean it's not a one-of-a-kind item?
Well, no, remember, she gets another one for him from the fucking dragon.
Okay, but that's like
Okay, but that's a
getting another
dragon.
one-of-a-kind item from a dragon. Like,
Yeah,
what?
I'm just
Yeah,
saying though, like
that's a dragon.
I'm just saying, like he didn't think he could get another one, so like he's like devastated.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for the dragon, he wouldn't be getting another one. So
At least not on this
So now,
planet.
now he knows that every time he needs a new one, he's got to go to the Crimson Sea, have a slave to sell, and then
Yep.
a slave just sounds wild.
It's like, I mean, it's true.
It
is,
is.
but it's
Yeah.
wild though.
I mean, to be fair, like it was only one of her 3 items. If he brings a slave, he can get 3 of them every time, so he gets backups at least.
What if he just wants a really, really good board? I would have asked for a board that literally writes what you want without actually fucking you writing it yourself.
I don't think he does write it himself. I'm pretty sure it reads his mind. Oh no, he types
Does
it, doesn't
it?
he? It has a keyboard. You're right.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're right. It has a keyboard.
He's
It's
got a
basically
tablet.
like a fucking iPhone or a tablet. It like is like a text to speech.
Yeah, but
for
like you could
everyone
literally
else, and then-
no, at that point, ask for subtitles instead.
Ask for subtitles.
On anything, the amount of times that I wish for subtitles in real life.
I mean, he
my
basically
God, I would
does.
love
Like
subtitles in real life, to be
it
honest.
registers people's speech and like writes it out for him so he can read it, and then he can type back. I think what I was thinking of, it has apparently like an autocorrect feature, because I think he says like it tries to predict what he's gonna write sometimes. So it basically has autocorrect. Like the predictive text.
Sorry, my bad. I didn't mean to say that.
I meant fuck, not duck.
Duck.
Lizard.
So Crow shouts for Liger to put down the anchor, as they were already where they needed to be. She then throws overboard a letter in a glass
I
bottle.
loved her. Like, obviously, if people are gonna mutiny, you don't tell them how long until we get to the area.
You tell them it's going to take longer than it actually is.
Mhm.
But yeah, so she then throws overboard a letter in a glass bottle for the dragon, as was the rules listed in her book. After a few minutes, a giant tunnel of spores opens up next to the ship. Crow has the Ducks get a rowboat ready and forces Tress into it. She also tells Liger to begin killing the others if they don't return in an hour. Before the boat is lowered, Hoyt again tells Tress that she has everything she needs. Were we going to say Mythic?
Which is crazy, to be honest. We don't show up in an hour. Kill them. Okay, but what if the fucking dragon keeps you longer? Like,
Right? Like, apparently it takes them a while to walk up and down that fucking tunnel. I'm surprised that one of them wasn't dead already when Tress got back.
yeah, I know, right?
But yeah, so what did you think Tress was going to be able to do to prevent herself from being a servant of the dragon? I mean, Mythic's been saying for a while you thought that she was going to trade Crow.
I literally called what was going to happen. Okay,
Yeah.
like, there's no way she's not afraid of spores either. Why wouldn't that be the option? Like, I don't see the like, I don't know, any other option there.
Yeah. What did you think, Darkness? Did you have any theories about how Tress would get out of this situation?
I was lucky hoping she'd just make friends with the dragon.
So let me get chapter 51, The Dragon. Hoyd notes that the spore seas are not as deep as some oceans like the lilting abyss on Threnody. However, they did need to hike several hundred yards down through the spore tunnel. Crow is shoving Tress along. As they move, Tress wonders if the spores would react to water normally, or if the dragon's influence over them would prevent that somehow. Eventually, the tunnel leveled out into a large cavern with pillars of spores wrapped in black fabric. Hoyd also makes a comment that Tress briefly thinks about licking the spore wall, which is real Alamancer Jack of her.
Yeah, very. Like, I'm this whole thing just kind of like is weird to me. Like, first off, how does Hoyd know what's in Tress's mind? Like, what?
I'm
Oh, she
assuming
thought
he
about doing
either talks to her once cured, or has a thing where it's kind of like, these are the events that happen, and he's kind of like extrapolating based on what he knows of her personality.
Oh, her.
Also, why lick? Why not spit?
Right, that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, why would you not like spit at it from a distance? Because you're gonna get instantly killed if a spike goes right through your skull if you lick it.
Tongue piercing.
That's one way to get a tongue piercing. Way to get a fucking 20 tongue piercings. So Tress falls to her knees, wanting to cry, but scared that would cause the spores to react. Crow kicks her, trying to get her to continue moving. She also calls out to the dragon, saying she had brought the proper sacrifice. Eventually the dragon appears from the shadows, looking mostly like what they expected, but also with silvery hair and a beard. Tress keeps thinking about Hoyd's words, wondering if he meant the flare gun that Crow still had in her coat. What did you think of the dragon? I've got a picture there for your
The
reference.
baby dragon.
I don't think he's a baby.
It's a baby dragon.
Pretty sure that's an old man dragon.
It's a baby dragon.
He's got an old gray beard.
I think that's just how they were born.
What did you think of
Still a baby.
What did you think of the dragon, Darkness?
Look, you don't like it.
No, you don't like the dragon?
No.
Why not?
I mean, it looks cool and everything, but the dragon itself, like the personality and everything. No.
Oh, you're not a big fan of Jesus?
No.
Of Jesus?
Zizus? I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Jesus. Of Jesus. Got it.
Jesus.
Yeah, no.
No,
we're
it's
not
not
big fans of
Jesus.
Jesus.
No, it's not Jesus. It's Zigzus.
Yeah, totally. That. Mm-hmm.
None of the human
Jesus.
none of the human servants Jesus had were allowed in the entrance hall when others arrived, as he didn't want them reminded of the outside world. He wanted them focused on his research into the complex ecosystem of the spore seas. Hoyd notes that dragons do not have hordes like people seem to assume, and wonders if they assume this because of the metal left behind on their corpses when they die. Jesus was as tall as 4 humans, and the firelight caused his dragon steel to reflect and make it look like liquid metal. So what do you think about these dragons seeming to be made of dragon steel or have scales of dragon steel? They're got metal scales.
What type of metal?
It's dragon steel.
Yeah, steel, which isn't that the name of the convention?
Yeah, so dragon steel is the name of his company.
Yeah. So
which they also call the convention, and I believe is also the name, or is going to be the name of the book about Yolen. It's Dragon Steel.
Kind of weird, huh?
Yeah. Guys should have just expected dragons from the start. It's called Dragon Steel.
Exactly. So wait, does that mean? Oh, I have a theory.
Oh, what's your theory about Dragon Steel?
What if Hoyd is actually a dragon?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
That'd be interesting.
What if everybody from Yolen is actually a dragon? Even though
that
that's
would
where humans were originated. But
yeah, because that's where humans originated, though, too. Be very interesting, though.
Doesn't mean that they're not dragons.
I mean, Saphandria sounds like a dragon name.
Dragons.
So does Bob.
Yeah, I think he's a dragon. That's why he's immortal. He's a dragon.
Do you think dragon steel is a god metal of some sort? Or is it just some different type of metal that's kind of similar to steel?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it'll probably be a god metal or something.
Imagine if it's Adonasium's god metal.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be crazy.
Are you saying that because you know? Or
no, I know so little about Yolen because I think I've told you guys before, is technically there's a Dragonsteel version book out, but it's not considered fully canon because he wants to rewrite it. So I've specifically not read it because I'm worried about confusing canon for non-canon events.
Yeah, we can't do that. Canon events are, permanent.
So...
Right, Darkness? Right, Darkness?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've specifically not read Dragonsteel. I just have little bits of knowledge from seeing people post about certain things. But yeah. So I know very little about Yolen. But yeah, so Crow eventually speaks again, stating that she has come to initiate the ancient pact and has brought Tress as a slave for him. Tress, feeling desperate and remembering Hoyd's words, then also speaks. She states that she has also come to initiate his ancient pact, and that she has brought Crow to be a slave for him.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I'm assuming this is going to be a no for Mythic, but were you surprised by Tress trying to give the dragon Crow to be his servant?
Not at all. I just assumed she would have thought of that before getting in face-to-face with the dragon. But
you said no as well, Darkness. You weren't surprised?
No. I mean, what else are you gonna do?
Right? At this point, there's just 2 of you down there. You only got one other person to try and give to the dragon so that you don't get taken. But yeah, so chapter 52, The Sacrifice. The dragon is confused by them both claiming the other to be the trade, and Crow is angry. Tress
I'm
goes
not
on,
sure
saying
why
that
he's confused, but dragon. Obviously, he should have a little more, little more intelligence than that.
So Tress goes on, saying that Crow will make a good servant, as she is strong and also had used midnight spores earlier that night. Crow tries to physically shut Tress up, but Xezus insists that he won't have them harming each other, since one of them will become his servant and he doesn't want them damaged. Crow realizes that she needs to plead her case, so she begins talking about how Tress is young and easily taught, whereas she is older and stubborn. Tress, however, states that Crow has many skills and leadership expertise, which Tress does not have. Crow then goes on about Tress's achievements making spore devices, but Tress insists that she isn't that smart and just tweaked the other people's ideas. Tress also tries to say that Crow needs to stay here as only Xezus can help her, but Xezus and Crow state that Tress is just working against her own interests, as obviously Crow would be free of her ailment if she traded Tress. So what do you think about how badly Tress was doing at arguing for Crow to be the servant instead of her?
Well, I figured that was that was kind of going to be the case because she's not that smart. But mainly I don't know why she didn't think of this whole thing earlier.
What do you think, Darkness, about her attempts to try and convince the dragon to take Crow?
She could try harder. It definitely backfired a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I feel like Crow was robbed.
I do too, to be honest. Crow had such a good slogan and everything about it. Like she was definitely the better choice to give the boon to.
Crow should have just brought Laggart down. Laggart
And
wouldn't
then
have tried.
what would the other crew have done though? Other than that, the other crew would have just done some fuck shit. So I don't know.
They leave.
Yeah, they just walk away, leave them all there by themselves.
So Tristan says she would make a bad servant, and she really doesn't want to be there since she wants to go save Charlie. She states that
Not
even
a
though
good, not a good, like thing.
Argument?
Like, okay, yeah, it's not an argument to not be there. Oh, because I don't want to be here.
She states that
neither one of you want to be here.
She states that even though his servants are treated well, she will never be happy here and always try to escape as she needs to save Charlie. Caesar states that maybe keeping Tress from the Midnight Sea would be a mercy, and Crow tries to interrupt, but he silences her by causing the fabric from one of the pillars to gag her. Xezus finally states that he believes Tress about her being too driven to make a useful servant. He also states that taking her would be keeping technological advancements from the society above, due to her inventions. He then asks what Tress wants, but she states she feels bad gaining something from trading a person. However, Xezus says that technically she is saving Crow since the spore disease would come back within a year or two if she was away from him.
I don't believe that.
Tress thinks that the dragon could be lying about this to make sure that Crow doesn't try to leave him, but she doesn't state that out loud. So yeah, what do you think about Crow only being able to be fully healed if she stays with the dragon? Do you think it's a lie?
I think it's a lie.
What do you think, Darkness? Do you think he's lying about that?
What?
About the fact that Crow's spore ailment will come back within a year or two, even if he heals her?
No. It's not a lie.
No?
No, it's definitely coming back if she leaves.
Damn. So the dragon insists that she chooses a boon, and quickly. He does, however, state that he won't help her with her quest to save Charlie, as the sorceress is the only person on this planet that he fears. He doesn't even fear Saphandrius, which Hoyt states is rude. Tress then asks if the dragon would be willing to give 3 small boons instead of 1 large one.
This is why I'm so confused at him telling this story, because he's not here. Some of these details that he has are just too, on point. That even if she walked out, why would she have said that? Why would she have been like,
she
oh
also
yeah, he
doesn't know
who
Saphandrius is.
Exactly.
She only knows
that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. If he had made that comment to her, there's no way she comes out and when talking to Hoyt is just like, oh, and he said this and that. It's why I think he's just embellishing on a lot of the story, to be honest. But
or at least a lot of the stuff that he doesn't see.
Yeah, but that also doesn't make sense because if he was embellishing on the story, why would he basically make some of this stuff, say some of this stuff? Wouldn't he have embellished that the dragon was afraid of him?
Yeah, you'd think so, because he's like, he's like, it's so rude. He should be scared of me. I'm awesome.
Yeah, like I don't
And
know.
also, why would he
It's
bring up all
really
of his,
weird.
like, bad poems and stuff?
Yeah, like I just the way he's talking, like I feel like it would have been better for the story to have been like being read by Tress, who
Mm.
is the first-hand person in all of it. Just don't get I don't get how he. I mean, I also don't get how he has a lot of stories in the general. So
Mm.
because he's always been a storyteller.
Yeah,
So
he's always been. He likes to collect stories and tell them to people for
Mhm.
them to
so I'm
fix their
wondering if it's like
lives and
a
stuff.
power. I'm wondering if it's like gonna either a later power that he
Mm.
gained, or like something that like lets him see into people's memories or something,
He's actually spying on them with Midnight Essence at the moment.
or that. I mean,
She's got a little blob down there being like, rude, how dare you say you're not scared of me?
yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. It's just weird to me.
Mm-hmm. So let me get chapter 53, The Survivor. Where's Kelsier?
Yeah, the Survivor. I mean, there's so much in this book that's just like so like everything else. It's crazy.
So Tress hikes back up the Spore tunnel until she reaches the ship. Leggert stares at her in shock before lowering his gun and backing away. The Dugs show up and excitedly help her back up onto the ship, the tunnel collapsing below Tress as she is raised up to the deck. Once up, she gives the 3 gifts to Anne, Fort, and Soleil. For Anne, she has glasses that should help her with her eyesight issues. For Fort, she has a new writing board, and for Soleil, she has an envelope, which has the location of her father. Apparently, her father had ended up on an island that she had already searched, but just after she had left. So what do you think about her gifts for her 3 friends?
Uh, Once again, she's thinking about her friends over herself, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are you doing that, girl?
Girl.
But I think it was Darkness was right about Anne's issues just all being her eyesight, and
Yeah,
that's why her
her
aim's so
glasses.
bad. He's like, oh yeah, you
Yeah.
have this specific eye issue. Here, these glasses should fix it for you.
What did she
Why
call it though?
glasses?
She said something. Like she's like, you have this, but I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's like
It had something with an M.
yeah, it's like micro optia or something like that.
Myopia?
Yeah.
That
It's nearsightedness is apparently what it is. A common condition
Oh,
which
of
close
course.
objects look clear, but
It's-
far objects look blurry.
no, it's
No, I think it was something
it's
else,
when
wasn't it?
it's when objects look smaller than they should.
I may have looked up the wrong M word then.
It's not micro. I swear it had micro in it.
I do too, but I don't remember.
It is in micropsia.
Micropsia.
Where people perceive objects as smaller than they actually are. Can stem from optical issues like retinal, edema, central nervous system problems such as a stroke or migraines, drug use, or psychological factors. Condition can also be a symptom of Alice in Wonderland syndrome, and though often temporary, can be linked to a serious underlying condition like strokes or infections. So yeah, it causes objects to appear different, like smaller or bigger than they actually are. So yeah,
I don't
that would
understand
definitely.
how. I don't know how that stops her from, or how that makes her shoot other people that are
Well,
behind her.
oh, that's true.
Yeah, I think even Tress specifically says like I don't know how that caused you to shoot someone behind you, but in general, I'm
Yeah,
wondering if
like,
she was shot someone behind her because like she's trying to like somehow adjust for. She's like, oh, my shot's really bad. I need to like adjust, and then she keeps adjusting worse somehow.
Could have just been a ricochet shot.
I think she does say actually it
Ping, ping,
bounced.
ping, ping,
I
ping.
think no, I think you're right. I think she says in the previous chapter it, like bounced and then went into the building behind her.
Yeah. Possible.
She's like, I didn't know, but cannonballs could bounce.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I didn't either, bro.
To be fair, these are different than normal cannonballs, so.
Yeah, they're rubber. They're just balls.
They're just balls. Darkness,
Mhm.
I didn't know you were in here.
That's crazy.
So anyways, after she had gotten hugs from her friends, Soleil states that Tress is now captain. Tress tries to protest and tell Soleil that she should be captain, but Sally insists that she is best as first mate, as her job is to make sure the captain doesn't make bad decisions.
Also, you're making a bad decision, Captain.
Yeah, by trying to reject being captain.
Yep. I was like, wow.
Tress eventually gives in and states that they set sail tonight for the Midnight Sea. She also claims that she is going to claim Crow's bed and not to wake her unless Death himself, with his nails in his eyes, shows up.
Which, why, at the end of this entire book, why did you have to do that, Sanderson?
So first of all, what did you think about Tress being captain?
I knew it was coming. She defeated fucking Crow. She's definitely gonna be captain.
What did you think, Darkness, about?
Especially after she got rid of
all of everybody's shit.
Caca.
Crow?
Yeah.
And she got rid of Crow. She saved the ship from the rain.
She gave them a bunch of boons.
Yep.
Like, yeah. It's just, there's no way she wasn't going to be captain.
But yeah, so how do you think the legend of Marsh, or also known as Iron Eyes, also known as Death, got to Tress's planet?
The same way that the Chandra got to this planet.
So do you think, like, Marsh
here.
traveled? Oh, you think so Marsh is, like, actually here?
And he, once again, is portraying himself as Death.
What do you think, Darkness? How do you think the legend of Marsh got here?
The Conjure spread it.
So, I believe and what I think the accepted theory on how that happened is, if you remember, there was a brief mention early in this book about how the Iriali have been to this planet. And we know at the end of Lost Metal, the Iriali had arrived on Scadrial. So it's believed that the Iriali, after being on Scadrial for a long time, took on the, like, thing about how Marsh is Death, and when they went to Tress's planet, they still had that kind of, like, legend in their society, and they spread it when they were hanging out on Tress's planet.
I don't know. I think Marsh is here.
Okay.
I'm gonna stick with the Conjure spreading it.
Okay.
I kind of don't like that theory anyway.
I don't either.
You don't like the Iriali theory?
No.
It makes the most sense, though, because, like, how Tress literally only just met Ulam, and he's only been here for, like, a year. Like, how would he have spread this so far that even Tress had heard about this, like, legend of Death?
Okay, but I'm not saying he spread it specifically. I'm saying Conjure spread it in general. Just, you know, in society in itself, you know?
Yeah, they looked like him or whatever. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be in the span of, oh my god, Tress became the main character. Everybody's, like, saying this shit now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it could have been, like, fucking, like, years, like, I don't
the
know.
Iriali were here, like, hundreds of years ago, they said. Like, they disappeared,
Exactly.
like, 300 years ago. So they're saying, like, the Iriali were on Scadrial for who knows how long. Could have been thousands of years. They got the legend of Death being, like, or Marsh being basically the Grim Reaper, like, got integrated into their legends and their society.
So they reached the Mistborn planet, right?
Yes.
From the point of them reaching the Mistborn planet, right?
Yeah.
From how much longer from them reaching it did it take the Conjure to leave that Mistborn planet so it could spread out to the others?
We don't fully know, because we know that he sent Meilon and a couple other Conjure to do some stuff in Lost Metal, but that was the start of him sending the Conjure out.
Exactly. Right.
But you also have to remember that the Lumar, as far as we know, doesn't have a perpendicularity. Like, we don't know how Ulam Hoyd and, like, a bunch of people got here.
But, I mean, they made it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there's definitely a way, and we don't know when they got here. And also, like, technically, if the Iriali, or whatever the fuck they're called.
Iriali, yeah.
Yeah. If they made it there, they would have still had to, like, integrate themselves into their customs, you know?
Mm. But yeah, like, the Iriali would have been here for, like, potentially hundreds of years.
Why there? Why specifically there?
Well, because remember, they go to different planets, and they spend, like, thousands of years at each planet.
Okay, so if they got that Lost Metal, right?
To Scadrial, yes.
Yes. So how long would they have spent there?
I'm assuming at least a couple hundred years, at the very least, if not more.
Yeah, so, like, by that time the Conjure are gone, like, to other planets. So I'm gonna stick with my Conjure theory.
Okay.
Because it makes
I just think it
sense.
seems more likely that a whole culture coming would influence a planet more than just a couple Conjure.
I mean, to be fair, the whole Conjure thing is the fact that you can, like, infiltrate society as their own people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, put in the ideas. Like, it's not like they haven't done it before in their own, like, planet.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they would trust more their own person their own people at a faster rate than new people they haven't met.
Yeah, I guess so.
It could also just be okay. The Erie Alley could be Condor too, right?
The
It's not
Erie Alley. I mean, there might have been some Conjure with them after they left Scadrial, but the Erie Alley are like their own people. They're definitely the majority of them, at the very least, would not be Condra.
So you're saying that a Condor could not impersonate an Erie Alley?
No, I'm saying they could, but I'm saying that I don't think there's enough Condra to fully like take over their whole society. I'm saying that Condra could have infiltrated the Erie Alley, but I'm saying there's the majority of the Erie Alley people would not be Condra.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, there definitely could have been Condra hanging out with them, both in Scadrial and after they left, for sure. Because I think they even say in like Lost Metal that Melon mentions how like some of the Condra have been like integrating more into human society anyways, so it wouldn't be that far fetched for a couple Condra to be like, I want to be Erie Alley.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, we got our overview questions now. First of all, do you think Tress will be able to meet with the sorceress?
Yes. I think she's gonna save her boyfriend or whatever.
Do you agree, Darkness? Do you think Tress will meet the sorceress and save Charlie?
Fucking name.
Hmm?
I said I hate that name.
Charlie?
It's so out of place.
Why?
Charlie. I mean, yeah. Like, think of it. Tress.
Tress isn't her real name. Tress is a nickname. Remember, her name's Glorf.
What is her real name?
Her name's Glorf.
Her name is
remember?
what?
Glorf.
That's still okay.
How is that not? That's what I'm saying. How is Charlie fit in this world, man?
There's also Doug's.
That's not the real name, though.
I mean, Hoyt says at least one of them is actually named Doug, and he just calls them all Doug.
Somebody once told me their name was Doug, so now everybody is Doug.
We had a whole rant at one point where he's like, somehow the name Doug shows up in like every fucking society. It's just this thing. So now everyone's Doug's. But yeah, I don't think you answered the question, Darkness. Do you think Tress is going to meet the sorceress and save Charlie?
Meet the sorceress? Charlie don't want to go home. Charlie got a new like sugar mama.
Yeah, new boo.
Damn. So she will meet the sorceress, but she's not going to save Charlie because Charlie doesn't need saving. He wants to hang out there and stay.
Right.
Okay. Also, how do you think the book's going to end overall? Because we only have one episode left.
One chapter left. Oh my god.
One episode left.
Charlie with an ending.
It will end with an ending,
Charlie's
and that makes sense. He said it's going to end with an ending.
I mean, yeah, of course it does.
Do you have any theories about anything that might happen besides her potentially getting to the sorceress?
There's going to be a supreme sorceress.
She's gonna get all the toppings.
It's going to be one above her. One sorceress to rule them all.
Damn.
Oh my god, they start a cult.
Yeah.
What if Charlie's a sorceress?
That'd be hilarious.
What if the sorceress wanted Charlie for a new body?
Oh damn. That'd be crazy.
That'd be awesome.
Charlie does not exist anymore.
It turns into one of those like
Sorceress.
cringy, romantic, like erotic, like pirate fantasies.
What?
The books.
What?
There's romantic, erotic books of like everything. So.
I'm sure there is.
It's like the sorceress and the pirate.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so our next and final episode will obviously be chapter 54 to the epilogue. So we'll just finish the book for next time. And thank you to Hubris, Cal and Dies in Book 3, Kyle and Danny the Spoon Lord for being our Patreons. We very much appreciate you. And we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.